Welcome back, everybody. You know what today is? It's Wednesday night, 8 p.m. It's the Relationship Gumbo Podcast Live Edition. And I am happy that you guys are here. We have an amazing guest tonight. I'm excited about tonight's show. An amazing topic. So what I want you to do first and foremost is I want you to, if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you click subscribe. Click the bell. Make sure you get all the notifications because you're going to want to see every single episode, whether it's in the future or the past. You can go back and kind of binge them all. It's got to be, I keep losing count, but it's at least 130 episodes. It's a lot. So you can watch them all or pick the ones that most fit you. So what I want you to do is give me 30 seconds. I'm going to make sure everything is thinging. I want to make sure things are working. Come back and we're going to start the podcast. So stand by.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the Relationship Gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derek Jones the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship Gumbo, ayy.
All right, we are back. We are back. As you come in, say hi, say hello. Let me know where you're chiming in from. We're gonna get into this. I'm not even gonna take long, but y'all know I got some housekeeping stuff because I'd be remiss if I didn't push my own stuff. So, as you know, you're watching me on YouTube now, but we also have an audio version. Now, we have a brand new website and an app. We have a Relationship Gumbo Love Academy new website, myrelationshipgumbo.com. You go in there, make sure you go to the website. The website will direct you to the app. You get in the app and then the sky opens up. It's like a whole community and people you can talk to, and everybody's kind of looking for the same thing, and group coaching is in there. Online courses are in there. Ebooks are in there. You have discussion groups in there. You have this Friday, matter of fact, let's plug it right now. This Friday, we have a Zoom party coming. Friday, 8:30 p.m. We coming in. It's free. Everybody, you remember at the beginning of COVID, people was like, bring your drink and all. We doing all of that. Bring your craziest and most nonsensical dating stories, and we're going to share. It's story time. So we're going to have fun on Friday night because some of y'all are out there shaking y'all booties out there, and some of us be in the house chilling. So come on in, bring a friend. Make sure everybody gets in the app and hit that RSVP button. And I'm going to come out of this because I can do this all night, ladies and gentlemen. But I got a guest that's patiently waiting in the background. So we're going to get her up here. So if this is your first time, the way that this normally works is I will pause for 3 seconds, start the podcast, and then at the end, I will pause for another 3 seconds so I can chop them off on both ends and get that good audio for you in the middle. So without further ado, let's get it. And welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones and I am your host. I'm a certified relationship coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. We're going to talk about some stuff that's going to probably talk about y'all's mental health tonight before the night's over with, if not everything. So tonight's show is titled Men Hurt Too, and you're going to see why we titled it that in just a second. Tonight's guest, Miss Trey Kearney. Just to give you I'll give you 60 seconds of how I got her here and why I wanted her here. If y'all remember back, they used to have this app called Periscope, and she used to come on there like often, and she used to, she's a coach, and she talked about her stuff and her thoughts and the things that she's researched and all the men that she's interviewed and everything. And I was like, this is different. I haven't really ran into a lot of women advocating for men, right? So I was like, follow, and she kept popping up, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Then Periscope went away, And then years later, I don't know if it's been years since Periscope, but anyway, TikTok. Everybody's on TikTok now. Boom. One day I'm just scrolling and there she is, and I'm like, follow. And then I'm following her and I'm looking out on her content and I'm like, I got a show. let me invite her to the show because all the stuff that I enjoyed, I want you guys to get to see it live tonight, what I enjoyed. So I'm going to bring her up and I'm going to let her tell us a little bit more about what she does. All right, looks like everything's working. Welcome, Miss Trey Kearney. It's an honor. I want you to tell people who you are and a little bit about what you do, and maybe a little bit about why you do.
Okay, so I am Trey Kearney. I am a certified life and relationship coach. I am also an autism mommy, and I'm a mother of 3 boys. I'm a boy mom. My boys are 27, 22, and 13. And I got here by way of committing adultery. Actually, when I came on Periscope, I was talking about my journey of cheating on my husband, and I was going through a healing journey, and I wanted to share with people the devastation of infidelity, what cheating does to families. And while I was on my journey of healing, of trying to figure out why I would do something like that, I learned about myself. I went on this journey of learning about myself, my dysfunctional background with my mom and my stepfather who was married to somebody. And I just wanted to help people heal from the devastation of infidelity. And I wrote a book for women. It's Healing Time, Restoring Hope in Women After Infidelity, where I wanted to help women heal from infidelity. And they resonated with me because I was the wife who cheated, and I got cheated on by the person that I left my husband for. And it devastated me, and it showed me how devastating it was for what I did to my husband and the man's wife that I cheated with. And then as I was on my journey, I was talking to women, and then men started reaching out to me and saying, men hurt too. Like, what about us? Like, you don't have a book for us? You don't have anything for us? And I said, wow. And I started thinking about my boys and the effect that my journey had on them, with taking them along the journey after cheating on their father, and them seeing all of this from the age of, my oldest was, I think 9. And my middle son was 5 when all this happened. And just the effect that it had on them, which led me on this journey of It's Healing Time, Restoring Hope in Women After Infidelity. It's Healing Time, Men Hurt Too. And then I have a movement called #NoSideChicking, because everybody is affected by infidelity. The husband, the wife, and the side chick. So that's how I got here, because I really was a married mistress.
So that the comments are saying this is super honest. And I'm like, they don't know you yet, huh? It's like that all the time. So and somebody else on the TK's Chronicles of a Black Sheep podcast says #autism mom. So yeah, there's a lot of autism moms, autism dads out there. So I'm glad that you're a part of that community too, especially with everything that you bring and your expertise. So the first place I want to go with this is, first we're going to talk about the push of sorts to take on this men hurt too. Men have feelings too. Men hurt too. And I want you, see, this is the way that I'm going to frame this out. Watch this. So when you started out on this journey of what I would call advocating for men, male emotion, male vulnerability, males just wanting to be seen and heard. And then I watch how you move, even like now on TikTok, in some of the backlash you get from women, maybe a little bit of men, but mostly women, because it's something I believe that is not, I think sometimes women, hold on, let me correct. Some women, because you know what's going to happen when you do that. Some women look at men as kind of like a monolith, right? Like we're all like these automaton robots that maybe have 2 or 3 different emotions and we fit in this box. So then when you come out as yourself or even anyone else, because you would expect a man to say, "Hey, men hurt too," but nobody really listens. You come out, and now the ears start to open a little bit. Like, a woman is saying this. So the where I want to take this is, when you speak about this, it's almost like what I like to, like the Tasmanian devil comes out in people, and they're more than just anger and the two or three. That no, there's no. I don't even know what that looks like, and it is like almost kind of like a willful ignorance, like we're not human. So I just want you to speak to what it's been like talking about this subject and the effect that it had, negative or positive, that it's had on people.
Well, one of the first things that I say in my book, Men Hurt Too, is that men are human beings first. And as soon as men are born, as soon as the doctor says it's a boy, they are no longer considered humans. They're considered males. And, they have all of these things put on them, expectations of you need to protect and provide from the moment that they say it's a boy. And I just think that society has made it really hard for men to be vulnerable. But during my journey of raising my sons, I was on the inside looking from the outside in, right? If that makes sense, right? I was raising men. I was dealing with everything that men were dealing with. I'm not a man, but I saw all the things that they went through, that my boys went through. And on that journey, I also realized I was the first person to disappoint and hurt my sons. So I think that with most boys, I'm not going to say all, I think the mother is the first person to disappoint and hurt her sons. And we never take that baggage off their backs to apologize, to say, I'm sorry, I wasn't the best mom, or I shouldn't have cheated on your father. I shouldn't have been taking shots of liquor in front of you like a sailor. I shouldn't have been doing these things in front of you all the while you were just trying to be a man. So along my journey, I noticed that my two oldest had different temperaments, right? Like one of them is really opinionated and debate. The other one is really soft and his feelings get hurt fast. And it started to teach me that, men are human beings first. And then when my oldest son went through his first breakup, he was like really devastated. Like he was, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like he really is devastated, which made me think, first I wanted to beat the girl up. Let me be honest. I want to beat her and her mother up because it was a long story, but I wanted to beat them up because she had hurt my son. But it opened my eyes to something, right, Derek? It made me learn that you don't want somebody doing this to your son, but look how you treat somebody's son, the men that you date. Look how you talk to them. Look how you slick with your mouth. Look how you do them dirty, but you don't want somebody to do that to your son. Somebody loves that man too. So it opened my eyes to a lot of things once I began to mature and I got out of my own fog. So I really just wanted to come out and let people know that men are human beings first. And on my journey, right, when I started talking about hashtag no side chicken, I made it my business to remove men from the equation and hold women accountable for their part in infidelity. And this is what the women don't like, that I'm learning over the last 2 months of really being out and really advocating real hard and pushing, is that women don't like to be accountable for their part in a breakdown of relationships. I hear women talk all the time that I'm in a toxic relationship. And the reason why they're saying they're in a toxic relationship is that they want to put all of that the man is toxic. So I had to tell women, if you're in a toxic relationship, you toxic too. Because healthy people leave. You're just as toxic as he is. And 9 times out of 10, you're probably an enabler. Because if that man is toxic and not doing what he's supposed to do, you're supposed to let him go, to let him grow, honey. You holding on to him, you're doing more damage to him than he's actually doing to you, because you are rewarding him for his poor behavior and then blaming him for what's happening to you. So the one thing that I learned on this journey of speaking and advocating for men is that women are mad at me because they don't want to be accountable for their actions. I'm taking a blame game of, you're blaming and saying all men are the same from 2 or 3 different men that you dated when they were in their 20s, 25. He just wasn't ready to be in a relationship with you. So now your big 50-year-old self You still holding on to a man that broke your heart at 25, and you don't
Yeah.
even know how to deal with a 50-year-old man because you're not dealing with a 25-year-old anymore. He wasn't even supposed
Yeah.
to be in a relationship with you. He wasn't even ready. So you're still mad
Yeah.
at a boy, right?
Yeah.
I got young men who are my children, who I see them like they wouldn't be ready for marriage if marriage popped them on the head. But
Right.
so many of us as women, when we're dating, we have this fairy tale dream of all of my friends are engaged and everybody's married. So we put this stress on a man at 25, 26 years old. I want an engagement ring. I want an engagement ring. And the pressure of her family, he'll go out and do that when he's just not ready. And we carry that baggage for years and years and years from a 25-year-old, 30-year-old man who just wasn't ready. And we want to crucify every man that we come in contact with. All men are this and all men are that. And it baffles me, and I'll end right here so you can talk, but it baffles me when women judge all men by you've been in contact with 3 to 7 men, most women. 3 to 7 men. I've had 3 serious relationships in my life. 3. There are millions of men in this world. How can I base all men are this on 3 men that I've actually encountered?
Yeah.
And 2 of them was in my 20s. So I'm saying all men are this based on the experiences that I had with 20-year-old men, 25-year-old men, 30-year-old men. So we
Yeah.
have to learn how to grow and heal from those younger experiences because now we're not dealing with boys anymore. We're not
Yeah.
dealing with 25, 30-year-old boys. We're dealing with grown ass men
Mm-hmm.
who are tired of being crucified and punished for something that happened to you when you were 25, 26 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's unfortunate when having these type of conversations. And I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today. Maybe even when I went live on Instagram. But it's amazing when you start to have dialogue these days about accountability. How it's almost impossible to separate the two genders and just say we're going to talk about women today, and it's like what I always equate it to is with that whole BLM thing and the All Lives Matter, like they just couldn't focus. It was like no, I need you to talk about this part over here, and it's like no, and I don't know whether it's a human thing. I don't know where that disconnect happens. Like you can literally, like I've started shows saying disclaimer, we will not be talking about women today, and it's like. And it just kind of goes in what, and it's like no. What about the men? What about why? And I'm like, triggered.
Right.
Like you always say, if it doesn't apply, let it fly, right? And for some reason it's the easiest and the hardest thing to do. So what I wanted to do, and the other thing that I did want to point out about you, and I was talking about men are human in the work that you do. It's almost kind of like to your audience, especially the female audience, you're like the conduit to kind of humanize men for them.
Right.
So it's like some of them will get it, and some of them was like, wait, they're human? No, you're a pick me. Ooh, that word.
Right. Yeah, listen. And again, like I told them, we all pick these because everybody want to be picked by a man quiet as his cat.
Right.
Y'all don't want to act like y'all don't want to be picked by a man. You trying to get picked, like I said to women, y'all half naked on social media. Who you think you're doing that for? You're
Right.
the pick me because it's not hard for me to get picked by a man. But women, I'm trying to explain to them that men are human beings because you're blaming them for everything that happens in your life. And everything that happens in your life is a choice. You have a choice to deal with any man that comes your way. So you don't get to blame. And again, just the last 2 months has been very eye-opening for me by sharing the data. And this is what I'm trying to explain to women. Just come on my TikTok, and it's so hard for them to just walk into the TikTok room, to walk into my house. That's my house. You're not gonna do what you want in my house because I'll block you. But to walk in, and when I put a video up, to look at the data of what the men are saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I put a video up that says women are just not nice, women are mean, if 500 men come on there and say, thank you so much. Yes, they are. All I want was for my girl to be nice. I just want her to smile a little bit more. You just walk in the room and you take notes. Don't come in there and say, no, we all not me. No, we not. You're not listening. And again, that is one of the things that most of the men from the data that I collected said, Trey, women don't listen. And it has been an eye-opening experience for me
Right.
to see that women don't listen. I'm like, y'all don't listen, but you're going to listen to me because you're not allowed to come into my TikTok room and argue back and forth with men because they're already doing that at home. So you're
Right.
not going to do that.
Yeah.
So you could come in and have a seat or you can leave because I don't mind putting you out. And a lot of women feel like, oh, you don't hold men accountable. I do hold men accountable. Men know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. I'm here to tell you the data that I collected says this about us as women, and it's enough data that is true and that we need to listen. There are a lot of wives that complain about their husbands cheating. You not sleeping with your husband at home, I don't know what you expect him to do. And I'm not, again, let me say this, Derek, before they start blowing you up and saying that girl came on your show acting crazy. I'm not condoning, disclaimer, we're not condoning cheating. I'm not condoning cheating. But I coach men whose wives have not slept with them in 6 months. I coach men whose wives have slept with them 2 times in a year. I coach men who are not getting affection on a regular basis. What do you think he's going to do? You don't want him to leave. Oh, you crazy. You not divorcing me. If you leave, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You don't want to sleep with him. So what you think he going to do? Men don't sign up to be roommates. And again, I don't care if women get mad. Wives, open up your eyes. Your families are being affected by your behavior. Your children are not having the time that they need with their fathers because of your behavior. And it's time for it to be spoken out loud. And if you don't like it, and again, this is for women. If it makes you feel some kind of way, if you were triggered, you need to work on that. Because don't let it bother me, Derek. Like if I scroll all the time. I scroll all the time. People say stuff. Light-skinned women can't cook. I ain't got to say nothing about that because I know I could cook. So I don't gotta go on in. Yes, we can. Yes, we do. If it don't apply, let it fly.
Right.
Again, my boy would say HRJ or I love him to death. A hit dog will holler. You yelling and screaming and whelping on everybody's thing that talk about cheating because maybe you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I always like see that, and I've experienced a lot of that too, just being a coach, because you got to talk about both sides. And as soon as you go one way or the other, it's the hit dogs coming. So I want to do this. I want to what I'm going to do, because Trey doesn't know what I'm going to say next or whatever. But what I did was I went and I scoured the Trey Kearney TikTok archives. so I got some of her greatest topics that I thought that got some of the most visceral responses from people, some of the most good comments, bad comments. But I do want to say this too, when you said about the data of what the men say. The irony in the amount of data you can collect, even just going on TikTok and just going through comments, is pretty ridiculous how you can have, and it even shocked me to a certain point when I saw certain things about men even sharing something vulnerable or emotional, and then you go down and look at hundreds of comments, and none of these men know each other, and they're like, yep, me too.
Yes.
Yep, me too. Yes. And then you take that information and you say 200 men say that they are upset about this, and it's like, no, they don't. No, they don't. And I'm like, what? And as a man, and I know that this is what happens to you. I want to say this real quick, and then we just gonna kind of go down this thing kind of rapid fire. When you, as a woman, because a lot of times, this is what I think some people think, right? I think some people think they're trying to understand why their man doesn't share things with them. But then you'll have tons of men that'll share things with you and they don't know you, right? So I think when men who typically aren't, they don't emote, they don't share, they're not vulnerable, when they find a non-judgmental place, when they find a place where they may see other men talking, it's like you could be the most hardened person. You're going to almost find instant comfort. And then what you find out is all they got to do is see one or two other men say it. And then they just throw it all up on, oh my God, this is blah, 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 blah. So now you receive that. And now you're just reporting the news. and it's like, why is she doing this? So anyway,
Men are hurting. Men are really, really hurting, and men are starting to respect their feelings, right? And men are starting to say, "I'm not doing this anymore." Men are starting to move away, and my concern is that men are starting to move away from black women. I'm
yeah,
a black woman. Like y'all messing it up for me now.
yeah,
Like, hold up.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
some of us out here that love black men, but from the treatment that they're getting, from the experiences that they're having, I'm seeing a lot of men, black men saying, listen, I'm cool with that. I'm done. I'm branching out. I could just go over to DR and get me some, like seriously,
I
and get
know.
me
I see. Yeah,
and stuff at
I know.
home. I ain't got to deal with the arguing and the fighting. I ain't got to worry about buying her a Birkin bag. All of a sudden, we're in a relationship now. There's a price tag on my head. So I might as well just get on the plane, go get me some, do what I'm doing. And I ain't got to deal with y'all, black women. And I'm trying to tell my sisters, we need to fix this because we out here complaining about black men. And part of the issue is us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so let's do this. Let's go down this list I have. A lot of it I don't even have to look because I watch you all the time. Um, so first one that I saw was be something worth him running home to.
Yes.
So I just want you to give him whatever you want to throw out about that, and then we'll move to the next one.
Okay, if your man is not running home to you, something's not right at home. I said be something worth running home to physically, mentally, and emotionally. Men are visual creatures. Clean yourself up. Do your hair. Put on a cute jogging suit instead of that dirty bathrobe and them filthy slippers. Get yourself together. Physically, mentally, when he walks through that door, if he don't feel like talking at the moment, leave him alone. And emotionally, give him a soft place to land when he walks through that door. He done been fighting with people in his world all day. He need a soft place to land. He has emotions and feelings. Ask him, how was your day today? Something terrible could have happened. So he needs, if he's not running home to you, something is not right in one of those departments, physically, mentally, or emotionally. And I'm sorry to the women out here who says, oh, you're supposed to love me unconditional love. Unconditional love is one thing, and unconditional attraction is another thing. No man wants to come home to a woman that ain't did her hair all day. No man wants to come home to a woman that's not and I'm not saying you got to be dressed up like Lola Falana. I'm aging myself, but at least if you're gonna have on a sweatsuit, have on one that's fitted and nice, that's clean. Don't let him come home and you in your bathrobe because he been walking past beautiful women all day at his job. And they don't have no problem sashaying past your man. So when he comes home, there should be a comfortable place, again, physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Right. And so just to segue into this part, which was another thing of contention on your page, was the hair thing, like changing your hair, and if your man says he likes it a certain way, and the woman chooses to just go left of whatever that is. I want you to kind of speak to that a little bit.
Okay, men are visual creatures, right? I don't know if you're married, but if you were dating, when you see a woman, the first thing that you are is physically attracted to her, and vice versa. But we're talking about women now. So if a man met me with my hair like this, he's expecting that this is what I do. If he met me and I'm this size right now, I'm a size 10. He's like, okay, I'm attracted to this. So when we come down the line, my main objective is for my man to be attracted to me. So if my man says, if I come to him and say, I'm about to cut all my hair off, and he say, nah, I don't think that'd be a good look. I'm not really attracted to short hair. Why would I go and bald my head? He's not telling me what to do. He's actually just telling me I'm not attracted to short hair. And my feeling is I want my man to come home and be attracted to me. So I'm not gonna cut my hair. It's not that serious because women want to get into this, listening to their girlfriends. Oh, you gonna let him tell you how to do your hair? Yeah, he likes long hair. And one guy came on and said, well, what if I wanted you to change your hair from your big hair? I wanted your hair to be long and straight. I would definitely change it for a couple of days for you to have that fantasy. However, this is how you met me. This is my hair. It's natural. I'm not going to heat damage it or anything. But I certainly would entertain your fantasy and I would blow it for a couple of days, but it'll be back to its natural state. But I would honor your request because I'm trying to keep my man attracted to me so that he is running home physically, mentally, and emotionally, so I don't have no problems out here in these streets.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comp. TK, when you say what was the reason, I don't know what part that came in on. So explain what you were saying when you say what was the reason. Until she comes back, another one that I kind of pinpointed was the one that you did about black men being intimidated by successful black women.
Yes, women think that a man is intimidated by her because she makes more money or she's successful. When all of the men that I've interviewed and spoken to said, I'm not intimidated by anybody. Number one, I'm not intimidated by anybody. I'm not intimidated by any black woman. I'm turned off by her attitude. I'm turned off by the way she carries herself. I'm turned off by the way she talks to me. I'm turned off by her behavior. I'm not intimidated by the way that how much money she makes or what her job title is. I'm turned off. And I think that black women have missed the difference between intimidating and turned off. He's not intimidated by you. He does not fear you. He just does not like your behavior. And that's, nobody wants a pushy, loudmouth woman, or nobody wants a woman that doesn't respect their opinion. Like, we all have our own opinion, and men get to have their opinion too, and you don't get to force your opinion on him. That's the turn off. Not your status, not your job, not the zeros behind your bank account, but your attitude, your persona, how you carry yourself. And it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right. Yeah, I used to always, whenever women would say, men are intimidated by me because I got my own car and my own. And I used to think like, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but I'm trying to remember a time where I knew that men in mass was just scared of y'all. Like it's dudes at the gas station stepping to you like, what's up? I'm like, where are these men that are like, oh my God, I just will never talk to her because she makes a lot. I don't even know. But then again, I never speak in absolutes, right? There are some men that may say, yeah, I can't hang with what you making, but intimidated? To me, that sounds like I'm scared of you, right? That's how I take it. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Like, I don't.
Again, like I said, women just have to understand that you have to understand the words that you're using. Men are not intimidated by you; they're turned off by your attitude. They're turned off by how you throw your degrees in his face, or they're turned off by the way that you talk to him because you have a degree. They're turned off because you make so much money that you come into this air with this air on you. They're turned off. They're not intimidated.
Right. And G Jack, that's why I said I don't speak in absolute. She says, so you don't feel as if any men are intimidated by some women? Yes, there are some, but in mass, yeah. Because this is what I know as a man. When you say the word intimidated, it's a word that is used to emasculate a man as well, right?
Right.
So when you do that, it's built in that you're afraid of me, and I'm like, hold on, I'm a grown man. I'm scared of what? Like that. It just because I've heard this like personally when I always like to put this disclaimer way back in the day when I was single and I was dating and all of that, right? They used to be like, you women used to always tell me men are intimidated by me, like they just can't understand I got my own stuff. And I'm like, okay, so you got a car and a house and a job and you're an adult. You're an
Right.
adult. Like, what?
Everything. Yes. And
So
to her question is, we're not saying that there might not be one or two men that's intimidated, but for the masses, and from the data that I've collected and asked men this question about being intimidated by successful black women, from the data, they're not intimidated by your status. They're not intimidated by your job, but they're not intimidated by your success. Again, they're turned off with what comes with that, with your behavior. Not all women, but
yeah.
women who carry themselves a certain way when they get to a certain status as successful.
Yeah, and another thing too, real quick on this one, like what I would hear all the time that used to bother the heck out of me was the whole I have a degree, I have a master's, and he has to have at least a master's or above before I would even give him the time of day. And I used to be like, so you know how many men that are making, you could take a plumber making six
Yeah,
figures, right? So you're excluding a whole lot of decent men with that criteria. And it just bugged me because it's almost like this air of superiority that they would carry. And so they would the first thing out there, what do you do? And it's like if it didn't go here, then it's like the little stank face, and I'm like, that's what we doing out here. But then that same woman will come back years later and say, I can't find anybody.
right. I know a lot of, let me just say this, Derek. I know a lot of highly educated people, men and women, who don't have one
None.
iota of common sense.
Right. Right.
They book smart, ain't got no kind of common sense, can't hold a decent conversation just because a person, and by no means am I putting down a person or not saying that if you was dedicated enough and disciplined enough to get your master's degree, I'm not putting that down in any way. But having an education is a plus to some people, but some people are highly educated and don't have any common sense, no
Yeah.
personality, got the personality of a rock. So if that is one of your things that you need for your man to have a master's degree, I understand. However, you might be missing out, like Derek said, on a wonderful man who has a trade,
Mm-hmm.
a skill. I know some ballers that don't have no master's degrees. I know some ballers that own some big time businesses and it did not come by their education.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
we got to really sit down and think about the things that we're saying before we say them, and stop eliminating people, because really you're supposed to treat the CEO and the janitor the same way,
Yeah.
because one day the janitor may own a building that the CEO cannot maintain based on his integrity, based on his personality. So you got to be real careful how you treat people based
Yeah.
on education and status.
Yeah. It's a. I mean, I'm married now, but it was a trigger for me just to even be in the room and hear that because I'm like, so the next place we want to go is I'm choosing them in random order. Um, why men just don't leave?
Oh yes. Oh my goodness. Women are so quick to say, "Well, why he cheat? Why he just didn't leave?" And again, like I said on my video, women will crucify a man if he came to her and said, listen, this is not working out for me, before any cheating or anything is involved. If she came to him and said, if he came to her and said, this is just not working out for me, this woman is going to make his life a living hell. And I'm going to say a lot of women, I'm not going to say all women, but a lot of women. A woman scorned is worse than Satan himself. That
Mm-hmm.
woman will take that man to the cleaners. But you said be honest if this is not working for you. As soon as he's honest to say, I'm not feeling you anymore, we're not connected in this marriage anymore, you don't like me, I don't like you, we're living as roommates, you in one room, I'm in one room, she gonna take his money, or try to.
Mm-hmm.
She is going to separate him from his children by any means necessary. She is going to make sure he is miserable when he goes with his new girl. She gonna make sure she stalk him, bother him. She gonna do all that she can to make that man miserable. And this is why men just don't leave. This is why men are living in houses with women as roommates. That she's made him the roommate because he is stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's actually trying to figure out how to get out of there after he asks, we're not having sex anymore. You're not talking to me anymore. We're not connected anymore. Women get so satisfied in a relationship when they get a ring. A lot of women. And they stop doing the things that they're supposed to do. And then a man is like, you know what? We haven't had sex in 6 months. And again, I am not condoning cheating, but your man goes out every day and encounters the woman at the Starbucks, encounters the woman at the gas station, encounters the woman at the gym, encounters the woman at the job, and they are all shooting their shot. And if the situation happens at the right time, it's a recipe for disaster. So you cannot expect not to give a man what he needs in a situation where you committed yourself. And some women was mad at me when I said this. You are obligated to give that man sex if you are expecting him to be monogamous. You are obligated to give him sex. He is obligated to give you sex if he is expecting you to be monogamous. If you ain't gonna give it up, don't marry him. Don't expect to be in a monogamous relationship and then get him in the house and you don't want to fulfill his needs. That's BS.
Amen. It's funny because while I'm hearing you talking, I'm listening to you here, but I'm also listening to you say, I said what I said.
That's it. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to say it tonight. I'm trying not to say it because you get back to me when I said what I said. I'm not playing with these wives. I'm just saying I don't care. There's no excuse for you to withhold sex from your husband. Unless it's abusive. Now let's just all have common sense to understand that if it's an abusive situation, we're not talking about that. We're talking about healthy relationships with men and women who are not abusive. We're talking about healthy relationships where women just check out and decide that they're not going to have sex anymore. You don't get to do that. Just like he don't get to come home one day and say, guess what, babe? I quit my job. I'm not paying the mortgage no more.
Right. I have a question for you that came up.
Okay.
What about the ones the men who may want it more than you want to?
There's always a compromise, right? There's always a compromise. So I talk to women that I coach and couples, and some women don't like to give oral sex. Can I talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some women don't like to give oral sex. If a man desires oral sex, men desire oral sex. I just want to say this to women. It's a compromise. And this is what I encourage my clients to do. I'm not saying that you have to do it all the time, but let's say you do it on Father's Day. Let's say you do it on Christmas. Let's say you do it on holidays. Let's say you do it on his birthday. So at least that man is getting something that he needs 4 times a year. And that's all men want. It is a compromise. Of course, we don't all want sex the same time. Like, all of us are going to have a different sex drive. And as we get older as women, I understand we're going through menopause. I'm 52 years old, right? That doesn't give me the right to neglect my husband. We need to have a conversation, and we need to find other ways to be intimate if the vagina is starting to be dry. We need to find ways to get things to stimulate us, because men have problems too where, sometimes it's not performing, but we're adults to have these conversations, but our needs need to be met. So if he wants it more than her, there's a compromise there. We're talking about women who have checked out and said, the hell with you. So what? I don't care. We're not talking about women who are willing to compromise. And I'm trying to teach the wives to say, if your husband wants it 5 days a week, at least you should be giving it to him 3.
Yeah. I agree. There's always this magical thing that we seem to ignore sometimes called communication. And communication, I always talk about this, how it's amazing for a lot of us, and most of us are guilty for this, of being afraid to talk to the person that we claim we love the most. It's the weirdest concept ever. Like, we're afraid to talk to our wife or our husband, but this is the person that we supposed to be, this, whatever they call it. I hate this term, but ride or die.
Right.
That person you can't talk to. That's
And
automatically a problem.
the reality of the situation is those things need to be talked about long before you somebody's wife or somebody's husband. Because I need to know that you could communicate ahead of time before we even get to a place where we, especially at a certain age, we're nobody's kids anymore.
Yep.
Everybody should be, and this is a problem that the men are having. And I've seen this on my platforms, and I've seen this in my coaching with couples. When a man comes to a woman and has a concern, we don't use issues and problems when we're doing coaching. When a man has a concern, he is shut down. And it's not his concern is not important anymore. It goes to her. What about you? And no, I didn't. And this man is sitting. I've seen this in my own several times working with couples, and I'm like, wait a minute. Let's talk about his concern before we go to what you're talking about. I know you got some concerns, but you're trying to bring up a concern now because he brought up a concern. This is his moment. We're not going to dish pile. We're not going to keep piling dishes up and never get to that dish at the bottom that's crusty and hard and causing all the problems for him. We're going to talk about this. This is his concern. We're not doing this anymore. That is one of the things about communication. Why men are not communicating effectively is because when they do communicate, they are shut down and the subject and the topic goes to that woman and his concern is never met. So he's just like, you know what? I'm just not going to say nothing. I'm cool with that.
Yep. Yep. And anytime you hear that on a regular basis, there's no such thing to me that there's a person who just doesn't have an opinion on something. As soon as they check out before they can even, then there's a problem. And my wife had to teach me this lesson because she was like, I know that there's something on your mind. I know you got it. But then she was like, Derek, I'm gonna go ahead and when you're ready, right?
Yes.
Keywords, I'm here. Then that made me come down enough to say, okay, when I'm ready, I can do that. Because a lot of times, some women, they want it now.
Right.
And if you don't give it to them now, there's a problem.
Yep. And that's that communication piece. And I tell women all the time, you have to ask him, do you feel like talking right now? And if he says, I don't want to talk about that right now, communication is this. This is an important topic. This is something that we really need to talk about. So can we talk about this on Saturday? If it's Wednesday. I know you don't want to talk about this right now because maybe he had a bad day at work. Maybe he's dealing with a funeral. Maybe he's dealing with a broke down car. Whatever might be going on. If a man says, I don't want to talk about this right now, then you have to give him that space to say. And women always say, well, what if he never wants to talk about it? There's no never want to talk about it. That's when you say, we need to talk about this by Saturday because the lights are going to get turned off. Or we need to talk about this by Saturday because the kids need to go to the doctor. But if a man does not want to talk about something right then and there, he's not even hearing you. He has phoned you out and said, okay, let me just let her talk about this. We're not going to resolve anything. Let me just let her say it so I can walk away.
Right. Yeah. Whoa. It scrolled up. Lisa says, she said she wasn't aware that there was a such thing as women not sleeping with their husband for months.
Girl, it's a lot of women out here that ain't sleep with their husband in a year. They check out. They have babies. They have jobs. They feel like they don't have to do it anymore because they have the wedding ring. They feel like he's not going nowhere. There are so many men who are dealing with sexless relationships right now that it is ridiculous. And then they saying he's wrong because he went out and cheated. He's this and he's that. You're not being intimate with your husband. And we're going to say husband for the churchy people who won't say you're supposed to be married if you're having sex. We know that. But if you're not sleeping with your man, he is going to go out and get his need met somewhere.
Yeah.
And hopefully that when the wives can hear me when I'm saying this to you. There are women out here who don't care about you. There are women out here who don't care that a man is married. You have to maintain your home. You have to keep up your end of the bargain. You have to satisfy your man. And if you are having a problem, we're not talking about women who are terminally ill or women who are having a real problem. We're talking about healthy women who have decided that I'm tired, get out of here every
Yeah.
night. I
Yeah.
had the kids. I got a headache. You doing too much. Sex is not, and some women, it's not that serious. Sex is not that serious. Yes, the hell it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah. I think a phenomenon that I always like pay attention to is there's a lot of women that the way that they punish you for how they feel about you is that like
Yeah,
they know that you want that, so they're going to go for the thing that they believe hurts you the most, even if as the man you're not even aware that all of that's going on up in there.
yeah, it's true.
It's so you
It
get
is.
the end result of it, and it's like, yo, like what's going on? And she's pissed off because you ain't take the trash out. She mad because in all of that stewing, it comes out in let me just not have sex with him, and he's like, yo, like, and he
Yes,
may legitimately be wrong. He may legitimately be wrong, but that dialogue hasn't happened. So he's like, yo, that's from 2 months ago. With
but let me say this too, Derek.
uh
Let me
huh,
say this. Sex should never be a weapon. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Like I said, if there is no abuse involved, sex should never be a weapon because you are destroying your own house. If you were using that as a weapon, you are in trouble.
yeah, yep. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Um, I'm looking at the clock. There's one place I want to go, not from your video, but something I wanted your opinion on,
Okay.
because I see this a lot. I'm going to call it conditional femininity. So
Okay.
it's like the women who are saying that they won't show a guy their feminine or their cooperative side until he earns it. Like, I don't want to use this word because I hate it, but when they talk about submission and being more feminine, I'm not going to give that to a man until he kind of shows me that he's worth me being that. And I just
Are we
think it's
talking
the
about
silliest
husband?
thing ever. You should be walking in that like all the time because you
Right.
never know. Like especially if you're single, he's not going to be attracted to the resting bitch face. He wants you to be in your element, and they're like, well, I haven't met any man that's a leader enough for me to turn into to transform into the feminine. And I'm like, what? So just give me your kind of because I hear it a lot.
Any woman that's putting up any type of front has some healing to do. You putting up a wall because somebody hurt you, because somebody did something to you. And a lot of this stuff too, Derek, is women listening to social media. A lot of this stuff is women listening, they heard somebody say, he need to earn this or he need to earn that. And it's damaging them and their chances of finding the right person for them. A woman should always be in her feminine space for herself. You should be carrying yourself with femininity because of you. And if anybody that doesn't deserve anything nice from you, that man does not belong in your space. But
There
you
it
shouldn't
is.
be punishing every man that comes your way by saying, I'm not going to be feminine. I'm going to hold my own. I don't need this and I'm going to do this because you're going to be alone. You're only punishing yourself because that man is going to go find another woman that is willing to allow him in her space. And the only way you're going to get to be in a healthy relationship with somebody is to allow them in your space. But that comes from a level of trusting yourself.
Right.
I
Yep.
trust me to allow people in my space because I trust me
Right.
to escort people out of my space that don't belong in my space no more. You don't trust yourself. So that's why you got that guard up. So
Yep.
men beware of those women. And you know the truth about it, Derek, is men are just walking away from them women. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you want to act. Well, bye. This
Yeah.
old
What?
girl over here on the other side of the room, on the other side of the bar, on the other side of the gym. You don't want to smile and be approachable, then go be by yourself and live with your cats.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always tell people who are in this kind of situation, it's really about like to your point, it's about the like you should be walking in your femininity with boundaries,
Yes.
right? So
That's
people
an
who
issue.
feel like they have to take the femininity away means you don't trust yourself to execute your own boundaries. And I always tell people, if you afraid to even go date and do, that means you don't trust your own self to adhere to your boundary. You afraid somebody gonna get past them, probably because they not even there. So you're like, well, if I take the whole femininity and the woman list about me, then I don't have to worry about somebody hurting me. No, you're gonna get yourself real single.
You don't trust the chooser. You don't trust yourself. And I really
Yeah,
believe that. I see a comment over here. Can I just read it?
yeah, uh huh.
And it says, "Isn't he weak for not leaving after years of no sex?" I just want to explain this, and we talked about this from the beginning, that men are human beings. I just want women to understand, just like we stay in relationships where we're not getting what we want because we're hoping that the man will step up to the plate. There are so many men that are hoping that their wife, girlfriend, or fiance will go back to being that loving person. They're hoping. Men are human beings. They have feelings. They just don't want to leave their wife or their girlfriend. They love her. That's why he's just not leaving if there's no sex, because men don't only want sex. Sex is part of it. He's not leaving after no years of no sex because he loves his wife. He loves things about her. He wants the sex to come back into the relationship. After a while, they finally do get fed up and leave, but they're staying there. Just like we have hope in relationships, just like we love that man, and people say to a woman, "Why did you stay when you know he cheated?" The same way that man is staying for years of no sex because he loves her, because he wants his wife, because he wants his family, because he wants to be in the house with his children every day. Do you know how many men stay in lifeless, loveless, pitiful relationships because they want to take their kid to school in the morning just like you do? And I say this to women all the time. You say, why don't he just leave? If you had to get up one day and leave your house, sis, ma'am, without your children, would it be so easy for you to just leave, to know that you're not going to get up in the morning to have waffles with your daughter? Would it be so easy for you to leave if you knew that you was not going to be able to get up and take your child to football practice without asking the man for permission? When these men leave their homes, they have no control of the level of time they get to spend with their own kid. If they want to go pick their own kid up from school in the afternoon to take them for ice cream, they got to call this woman up and say, "Can I go to the school and get my son to take him for ice cream?" But if he's in the house, he gets to go and pick his kid up from school. That's why men stay in lifeless, loveless, sexless marriages for years, because they want to be in that house to be able to have control and to be able to have the same access to their child like you do. I want to see just how many women would just get up and just leave a no good dude if that dude said, "Leave this house and don't take these babies with you. You're not taking my kids with you." That woman would be in that house too.
Somebody, G Jack says, makes sense, but what if there aren't any kids involved?
I told you, men love women, G. They love this woman. They want this thing to change around. They want to be with her. They've married this woman, or they've committed to this woman with the hopes that she will go back to the woman that he was when he first met her. Men are human beings. They have feelings. They thinking about, I gotta leave her. I'm gonna miss her, just like we do. Like, I'm gonna break up with him. I don't want to leave him. Even
Yeah,
though he a dog, or even though he ain't nice to me, or even though the bills ain't being paid, this my boo. I don't want to leave him. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning and he ain't gonna be there.
yeah,
Men feel the same way.
yeah.
He loves.
And I do want to add this in too, from personal experience and who I've had to kind of change into inside of a relationship is there's a lot of men that will do things to that, if there are moments where he may have wanted to share and there was a visceral reaction. There's a lot of men who transform themselves into these people who placate you like daily, so that it gives the semblance of peace, even to his detriment. Why? Because he doesn't want to leave.
Yes.
He doesn't
Men,
want to
men
leave.
don't want to leave either. They want, and this is what I think women don't understand. I just think that we don't understand. And I'm glad she said got it. I think that we just don't understand that men are human and they love us. They don't want to leave. They don't want to break up either. Like, because we've been programmed for so long to think men are dogs, and when they break up, they go on to the next woman. They don't have no feelings. Men be sitting in the house crying.
Yeah.
Men be sitting in the house, binge eating. Men be
Yeah.
sitting in the house, don't want to talk to nobody. Men are just, they human beings just like us.
Yeah.
We just, sometimes we all operate, every human being operates differently in different situations. But again, men are not just leaving because they have hope too. I hope my wife do better. I don't want to leave her. And I put up a post earlier and it said, cheaters hurt too. And I'm telling you, men be having so many regrets for cheating on their wife that they love, and they felt like they were stuck between a rock and a hard place, and they just made this one bad decision that they got to live with, and they be suffering. I coach men through the suffering of cheating, and they like, oh my God, if my wife ever found out, if I could just take this back, I just made a poor decision. And women, people don't understand, it hurts to cheat on somebody that you love. Shoot,
Yeah.
they act like, she said they act like they don't. They act like they don't because they've been taught that don't be vulnerable. You're a man. Don't cry. You better not act like this woman hurt you. You better pick your balls up and walk out that house, and you better walk on that street. You better be a whole man. You better man up, even from their friends, even from their father, even from their mother. This is how they've been taught. This is why they act like I'm not hurting when we have a breakup, because I've been conditioned and taught that you bet. I know you're not about to cry over no girl since little, since kindergarten, first grade, fifth grade, ninth grade. I know you're not about to cry over no girl. So they've been conditioned for years and years and years to suppress their emotion and move forward and act like it don't hurt.
Yeah.
But it don't hurt too.
We're gonna start wrapping up in a second here, but I don't wanna say all I want to say, because we'll be on here for another 30 minutes about this whole cheating thing. But I really want to express to people, especially women. Well, I won't say especially women, whoever's listening. Not all the time. Disclaimer.
Right.
Cheating isn't always about sex. Sex is a byproduct sometimes of something that people don't realize. Even something as small as, and I'm gonna take like maybe 2 minutes. Sometimes that day that you yelled at him, that day that it was something trivial and you went in, they're not gonna say, you hurt my feelings. They're gonna keep it right here. Right? You think everything's cool. He got 50 of them in there right now. So when he leave the house, because while he's in there with you, he's still carrying this. When he leaves the house, he gets to be himself. So the people he counters outside that like him, they like the real version of him. It's intoxicating to be yourself, because when you go home, you have to put on the clown outfit and dance to make sure that there's no, because it's the quest for peace, right? I am going to get my peace one way or another. My peace may come at the bottom of a bottle. My peace may come from having conversations with people that just make me feel like I'm being seen. When you start to do these things with other human beings, we're humans. You start to build attachments and connections. We haven't even talked about sex yet. The byproduct of an attachment sometimes is sex. But in the end, you see the sex and you say, he cheated because he just likes sleeping with a bunch of women. There's a human being in there that has been wanting to talk to you for like the past 6 months and did not see a way to get in, because of the visceral reaction. So a lot of people will fight you back, and there's some people, they'll retreat in the name of peace, but it's not really peace on the inside, it's peace on the outside. So it's torture every day. Imagine being tortured every day, and sometimes the wife doesn't know because he's not saying it, so she thinks what she's doing is cool, right? He leaves the house and he's chilling outside one day with somebody says, Good morning. You look nice in your suit today. I hope you have an amazing day. Oh, shit. People still do this? That felt good. He gonna go back out tomorrow and look for the same thing again because it's like a drug now. He didn't say I want to sleep with him. He just liked the way it felt.
Right.
I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna stop there because the way my brain works is I look at the end and I like to reverse engineer it because people don't realize that sex for a lot of men. I'm gonna say this because I've said it a lot. A lot of men who on the outside look like these sexual deviants, it's a coping mechanism for them.
Can I just say this? Can I just say this just for anybody that's listening? Anytime there's infidelity or cheating is a symptom of a bigger problem. Cheating is just a symptom. Just like a runny nose is a symptom of a cold. It's not the runny nose. That's just a symptom. There's something bigger. Just like a sore throat is a symptom of a cold. Cheating is a symptom of a bigger problem. Something is going on that is missing. There is a miss. There is a root cause for a person going out cheating. And I'm telling you, people talking about, oh, when people cheat, they don't have no integrity. They lack character, all this other stuff. There are some good people who made a bad decision to cheat. And I'm going to raise my hand because I was one of them. And people will say, "Oh, you cheated, and once a cheater, always a cheater." That's not true. Cheating was a symptom of a bigger problem that was going on in my home that was not resolved. Cheating was the result of a problem that was never resolved, that was never talked about, that was never dealt with, and the cheating didn't even help. It only made the person who cheated feel worse. And then it really only damaged another person when they found out. So we must understand that cheating is just a symptom. And so many people get caught up on the cheating that they never get to solve the problem, right? So we see people who, I have couples who are still together that dealt with infidelity because I coach couples through infidelity who stayed together because they were willing to do the work and not just look at the cheating. Oh, he cheated on me. He ain't shit. I ain't never speaking to him again. No, these people wanted their marriage to work, and they said, why did this happen to us? This just didn't drop into our house. There was a problem long before the side chick. There was a breakdown in the relationship long before the side chick came along. There was a breakdown in the relationship long before the emotional affair came along. The one, and I'm going to say this about wives. Sometimes wives are not willing to handle the problem. Like I said, not sleeping with your husband, not supporting your husband when he's trying to start a business. You're not his biggest cheerleader. Not talking to your husband, not respecting your husband, talking all crazy to your husband in the house, cursing him out. You're abusing him. And a lot of times women are abusive, but they don't say they're abusive because they didn't put their hands on him. Mm-hmm. But abuse is more than beating somebody up. But all of these things come from a bigger problem, and we have to be aware of solving those problems, like Derek said, before he's in a bottle, before he's out all night. Even if he ain't sleeping with nobody, he just don't want to come home to you. He come home 10, 11 o'clock, he want to make sure you sleep.
Yep.
There needs to be some things solved long before he starts going to stay at the pool hall all night. Long before he go get that secret apartment. Ain't no woman in it. He just got a secret crib, so he ain't got to deal with you.
Yeah.
And we got to be willing, ladies, to be accountable for it. And I always say this, no woman is ever responsible for a man sticking his penis in another woman. That is his responsibility. He is always, but you have to be responsible for your breakdown and accountable for your part in the breakdown of the relationship. That's all I'm saying. You are not responsible for another man going to do his due with another woman, but I encourage you to be accountable for your part in the breakdown of the relationship that you knew was there long before that man went and did what he did.
Yeah. Because I always tell people, when you yell at a grown human being, there's no scenario where that feels good to someone else. So if you're constantly doing that and then you see the after effects of that person behaving differently, doing different things, you got to really look at what that does to a human being, what it does to a child, what it does to any. No one wants that. So you chose this person. So now the yelling is going to break a human being down. I don't care who you are. I don't care how macho the man might be, alpha male, whatever. You keep yelling at him and he don't say nothing back, it's something stewing up in there.
Oh, definitely. He's either leaving, planning to leave, or he's gonna check out. And again, I know some men that just have apartments.
Yeah,
Ain't no woman in it. He just
yeah,
needed a safe space to go and
yeah,
decompress and be by himself and not deal with, like you said, yelling and screaming at somebody is abusive.
yep,
It's abusive behavior, and we have to. You can't just abuse somebody over and over again and expect them to stay there. Just like I say, cheating is a form of abuse. And if you are to the side chicks, I say cheating is a form of abuse. And if you are knowingly sleeping with somebody's husband, boyfriend, or fiance, you're an abuser. And if children are involved, you're a child abuser. But to the wives, if you are yelling and screaming at your husband, you are abusing your spouse. And you
yeah,
have to understand you don't get to abuse somebody. I don't care what they did. You have to have control of yourself, because what you're doing is, oh, he said this and he did that and he made me. No, nobody makes me do anything. I control myself. The person at the supermarket snatched my money, I don't go off. I control myself, because that says everything about me and nothing about the person that snatched the money out of my hand.
yeah. I'm gonna read G Jack's question, and then I'm gonna read Quincy's first. I'm gonna read hers. We're gonna talk to that, and then we're gonna wrap up. Quincy says some women think that a man walking on eggshells gives them leverage over him. So
No, a man walking on eggshells is about to leave.
yeah, pretty much,
That's
pretty
all.
much, pretty
Planning
much.
his escape. He planning his money. He planning how he gonna get up out of there. You might think you got the upper hand, but a man is always thinking that I just, and this is the one of the number one data things that I collect, the data information I collected. Men want peace. And when the peace is disturbed, eventually they get out of there. It's
Yeah,
only a matter of time.
yep,
They want peace. And if that peace is disturbed, they're going to go find that peace somewhere else. And I'm
yeah,
not talking about a piece of ass. I'm talking about peace of mind.
yeah. You are correct. G Jack says, "Do you think a relationship can be salvaged after the infidelity occurs?" I'll let you answer that. I know the answer, but I'll let you answer that.
Yes, I've coached couples who are happily married in their relationship right now. They've worked through it. Both people have to be willing to work through it. And this is one thing that the person who gets cheated on has to understand. You don't get to crucify the cheater for the rest of their life, because you're going to run the cheater off. And sometimes people who have been cheated on think that they are justified to torture that person for the rest of their life. I know other couples who have broken up and got divorced because the person who got cheated on couldn't let it go. They kept bringing up the other person. Even when the man wasn't thinking about the woman, she kept interjecting the woman back into the relationship, even when it was over. And that's one of the things I tell my couples when they decide to stay. When I tell the women who come to my program, the recovery room, the first thing I tell them, if you're going to stay, you have to accept the fact that it's over. You have to accept the fact that the affair is over, and you have to let this woman go, because you will keep talking about her even when he's not thinking about her. You'll bring her up, and you're just disturbing your house, and this woman, you're interjecting this woman into your relationship and starting all over again. But infidelity, couples who have gone through infidelity can survive and they can thrive, but both people have to be willing to, at some point, start with a clean slate. And that's one thing that I do with my couples who have gone through infidelity. We decide on a time limit of asking questions about the infidelity, right? Because you can't tell somebody how fast to heal. So we decide, okay, in 6 months, we're not going to bring this up anymore. 6 months is our cutoff. Or some people say 3 months. And we work through it. What do you want to know? What's this? What's that? And we talk about it. And at that 3 month period, it is clean slate time. We are just meeting each other, and we're never talking about him or her again. So you have to be willing to give your partner a clean slate if you're going to stay in a situation where there was infidelity, or it's never going to work.
Yeah.
Gender doesn't matter if at all. Both people
Nope.
just have to be willing to let go of the past and love each other enough. And if you're never going to trust a person again, just walk away, because
Yep.
you are going to be in a prison if you're with a person that you don't trust. You'll never have any rest in your life. If you are a
Right.
woman and you dealt with a man, or if you were a man and you dealt with a woman and there was infidelity involved, and you're never going to trust that person again, when they get up and walk out the house, if it's going to keep making you sick to your stomach, just let that person go. Just
Yeah.
don't kill yourself, because stress will kill you.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I always talk about how when you are in a situation, like to her point of can it be salvaged, you have to take the person who cheated, and you have to get them to be honest enough, and with help, with Trey's help possibly, or you're going to have to get to the why. If you can't get to the why, then it's probably destined to happen again, because they haven't either seen in themselves, and that's why coaches, therapists, or whatever exist, because they can pick those pieces out as you start to divulge the information and say, we need to work on this. If we can work on this and you can show consistency after the fact, then there's a place where you can meet. But if the person just says, I don't even know, it just happened, we not getting to the source.
No,
So
yeah. Right. And you have to, I encourage any couple that has gone through infidelity to get help, because nothing changes if nothing changes. I don't
Yep.
care if a person says, I'll never do that again. Like Derek said, if you don't get the help that you need to get to the root cause of the problem is still there. The weed's going to grow again.
Yep.
You got to get help to discover. Again, cheating is a symptom of a bigger problem.
Yep.
And if that bigger problem is not solved, the cheating is going to come again, because that is the way that person self-medicates.
Yep.
If we
Very
don't-
true.
if we can just, we'll go on and on.
I know, right? That's why I'm like, let me chop it off. But I'm gonna have you back though. I'm gonna have you back before I have to go through your security and all that, right? We gonna try to get you back. This was amazing. I thank you for coming. What I want you to do before we get out of here is tell people what you got going on. How can they find you? Where they need to go to work with you, or to just be in your. I'm not sure what you have, so let's tell them what you have.
Yes. I am a certified life and relationship coach. I help people through the devastation of infidelity. You can just go to my website. Everything's there. www.TreyKearney.com. I am all things Trey Kearney on social media. On TikTok, I'm at Trey Kearney 26. But you can find me if you Google me. If you really need help and you really want to, people that need help, they find help. So
Yep.
I'm all things Trey Kearney.
Cool. So everybody, make sure, if you do nothing else, follow her on TikTok. It goes down in TikTok. Thank you again. I appreciate you coming. This was good. Like I said, we have to do this again. And everybody, thank you for coming. I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. Make sure you go to myrelationshipgumbo.com so you can see everything I have to offer. Follow the instructions, get in the app so we can have some fun this Friday, 8:30 p.m. The only way you can get there to the Zoom party for the Crazy Dating Stories party is to get in the app at RSVP. There is no other website to go, right? I need for you guys to funnel in there. So get in there, RSVP, you'll automatically get sent the Zoom link, and then I'll see you on Friday. So that's all I got. I'm going to wrap it up. I normally do some extra stuff, but we're not doing that tonight. So I will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you stay safe out there. Take care of your families, and especially you. Take care of you. Take some time for yourself. And we'll see you next time. You guys have an amazing night, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much, Trey.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good night, everybody.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it.